Hello and welcome to a new video. And today was another push day, but mainly just focus on the barbell bench press as you see here. So here you see me, I've used the cue from Larry Wheels to just get into place, which reduces the time needed for me to actually unrack the bar and actually start moving, because I realized in my earlier videos I actually took a lot more time trying to unrack the bar than it should have, largely because of nervousness. Here I am, benching one set of 20 repetitions with 50 kilograms, and throughout the reps you might see me that I actually do it with a good enough cadence, and I don't really struggle at any point. But towards the end, of course, it's not a big deal for me, but I'll probably fix it the next time, that I probably do feel like I arch a little bit more towards the end of the rep. Next up is just for me to build a little bit more muscle in my triceps, and also to generate a little bit more of pushing power, because I realized that I can get the bar off my chest, but the issue is that at the halfway point of any heavy repetition, I'm more likely to fail in that position, and I end up having to arch my back during the rep, which makes me feel like my back actually could blow out at any point if I push it too hard. So here you see me just doing the reps nice and slow. I do feel though that my elbows flare out a little bit more than it should have, and actually I think it's not too bad, the flare on the elbows flaring it out, but trying to keep it tucked, especially as I fatigue, definitely is something I need to work on for future training sessions, so that when it comes to the real actual thing for me to actually bench that much weight, I'm able to pull it off without any, iggly feeling in my back. Now you see me doing my second set of tricep overhead extensions. The first set was with 17.5 kilograms for 26 repetitions. Here I rest for about 3 or 4 minutes, and I do it with an extra 3.75 kilograms, I believe, for an extra. Actually, now it adds up to 21.25 kilograms, and of course, I feel it getting a little bit more heavier towards the end of the set, which of course always makes sense. Again, I think the elbow flare again was probably something that again is probably acceptable here, and I think actually is not too bad like the last set, which actually is a good sign that I am, it's probably not the fact that I'm flaring my elbows. It's probably because maybe I did feel like I rushed the reps a little bit more, but I think it's not too bad for now. We'll see what happens on Monday. Now on to just a small arms portion, a little bit more for the biceps. Here I am doing with dumbbell incline curls, hammer curls actually, for a little bit heavier, since on, I think it was Thursday, I went with 12.5 kilogram dumbbells for a total of 20 repetitions, and I thought, hey, look, maybe if I can do it for 20, doing it with 15 kilogram dumbbells isn't an issue. But I think I still see an underlying issue here, is that I tend to rock a little bit. And if I try and pronate, I feel as though, maybe I will arch my back a little bit too much. I'm not sure what's up with that. But I think the reps, again, were good enough here in my opinion. See what happens. So on to the last biceps exercise, which is actually, I did 2 sets of this. I did the same similar exercise that you saw me do on Thursday with a preacher curl, except without the real preacher, not in the preacher machine, but with the cable, where I sit down here and I put my elbows up against my knees to form like an artificial sort of preacher, bench in sort of a way, and actually curl it that way. So that way I do it a lot in a lot safer position, and it doesn't press my elbows as much into my knees and doesn't make it feel as uncomfortable as I do it when I do it on the pad. So here, definitely, again, I think I definitely got the angle right on this one, where I actually feel more tension in my arms towards the bottom of the rep versus at the top of the rep, which is the opposite of the force curve that you actually want here. So here I am doing with, I think 18.75 repetitions for about 15 or 16 repetitions here. Not too bad, honestly. I'm a little bit surprised given that I was at about 16.75 kilos on Thursday, so maybe I could have done more over there, but that doesn't matter for now. And here I am doing my second set. It was a little bit heavier again. Definitely did not feel like I felt like a drastic leap in weight at all, so maybe I might bump it up just a tiny little bit, but I do feel that as I progress throughout the set, I'm just thinking that, hey, maybe this feels a little bit more heavier than I thought it would be. But I just keep going here and I keep going. You'll see me, definitely struggle a little bit more, just feel a little bit more my biceps. And around, I think, is it the 10th rep, 11th rep, I definitely feel, I might not be able to get to 12. But I just grind it out and I was able to get to 12, but probably not the prettiest 12th rep I actually ever felt. But that's it. Never mind. See you in the next one, guys.